Okay, here's your midterm for pre-algebra 2. Make sure you show all your work that you need to do. Don't assume anything. Show your work even if you're using a calculator. And make sure that you use capital letters on the multiple choice. So number 1, you got to order the numbers from least to greatest. Okay, so smallest to biggest. Here's your numbers: negative 4.2, negative 5, negative 2.8, 4.8, and positive 4.5. Number 2, identify the property that is shown. So you get 4 times the set of 9 plus 2, which is equal to 4 times 9 and 4 plus 2 added together. Okay, had to make some moves around here. I think I read number 2, but you got associative property of equality, commutative property of equality, distributive property, or addition property of equality. Number 3, you're to evaluate 9y minus 6x. And here's the values for x and y. So simply plug them in and work it out. Number 4, again, you're to evaluate. So you're to solve x times a set 4 plus y, and then that set is squared. So make sure you remember PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. X is equal to 4, y is equal to negative 7. Number 5 says you ride a bicycle through the mountains. You average 6 miles per hour riding uphill and 22 miles per hour downhill. You can model your total distance by 6 times u plus 22 times d. So you're going to use this model to find your distance if you rode uphill for 4 hours and downhill for 1 hour. So use these two values to plug into that expression and solve. Your choices are 6 miles, 22 miles, 94 miles, and 46 miles. It's a distance. It's how far you went. Okay, you got 6 through 13. They're all in this group right here. You're given some different things. Number 6, you're to simplify. All right, and if I could zoom in real quick on this, on number 6, remember that's a negative 1 right there in front of the parentheses. Okay. Number 7 is pretty simple. Again, you're to simplify. Okay, so just combine like terms and make it reduce this to as small as you can. You're not going to get an exact number for 6 or 7. If it says simplify, just make it as small as you can. Number 8, though, you're to solve, and as you are for 9. These are equations. See the equal sign here? Okay, so just do your algebra and solve for the variables. And moving over here to, here we go, 10, 11, 12 are all, and 13 are all solving. Again, they're equations. So again, just work out the algebra, follow your steps. All right, be very careful, do the best you can. Okay, guys, number 14 says you got a train that travels at a speed of 44 miles per hour. How long, that's a time, will take the train to reach 154 miles? Again, you need to remember on this that distance equals rate times time. Okay, so in this problem they give you miles per hour. That would be your speed or your rate, and they give you how far. We need to know time, how long. So plug into this equation and solve for time. You've got 4 choices. Again, 3.5 hours, 0.29 hours, 3 hours, or 7 hours. For number 15, each member of the roller coaster club costs $85 a year. That'd be kind of fun, roller coaster club. In addition to the yearly dues, each member pays $35 per trip taken during the season. If you have $295, how many trips can you take? Okay, so this is the grand total amount of money that you have. You have to pay the 85. So with what is remaining, how many trips could you take? 5, 6, 7, or 8? For 16 to 20, okay, right here, you're going to use this table right here of data. Number 16 says find the minimum. Okay, what is the minimum? 17 is what's the maximum. Find the median. It's the middle number. Number 19 says find the first quartile. Okay, if it was a box and whisker plot, okay, remember you got to split them in half, then split them in half again if you write all the numbers from least to greatest. And then find the third quartile. Alright, again, be out of the split it in half, you split it in half again, so you're going to have 4 parts, 19 and 20. What's the first quarter and what's the third quarter? Alright, do the best you can on those. Number 21, let's zoom in on this guy here a little bit. Okay, number 21 just simply asks, is y equals negative x to the fourth plus x plus 1/5 a linear function? True or false? Is this a linear function? This is usually a telltale sign whether it is or whether it isn't. In number 22, you're to evaluate, which means solve, for this function when x is negative 3. So you're going to plug in a negative 3 everywhere you see an x and solve it out. When you write your answer, you would want to write it, you'd say r of negative 3 equals then whatever you get. Okay? 23, again, you're going to solve. Same concept here. They give you a value of negative 3 for x and plug them in and see what you get. 26. There we go. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What is that doing there? Move out of the way there. Here we go. They want you to write the equation of a line in slope-intercept. Okay? It goes through these 2 points. Okay? So remember, slope-intercept is y equals mx plus or minus b. Okay? Plus or minus b. So you want to figure out your slope. Okay? And then you could pick a point and plug in the x and the y into the equation. Find your m, that's your slope. Plug in the x and the y, and then solve for b. That'll give you your b. Rewrite your final answer then in this format. So it should be y equals a number x plus or minus whatever the number is you found for b. Okay, 27, 28, and 29, these are all direct variation. If you recall, your formula for direct variation is y is equal to kx. Okay, so in number 27 it says x varies directly with y. Write a direct variation equation for x equals 2 and y equals 16. So you need to figure out what k is. So plug them in here, solve for k, and then rewrite it, whatever you got for k, to look like this. Here's your 4 choices. Okay, and you're doing the exact same thing for 28 and 29. So solve for k, plug in the x and the y, solve for k, and then rewrite it, y equals whatever you get for k times x. That's all you got to do. And now let's move on to page 3. Alright gang, 30 through 38. All of these problems are systems of equations. There's no directions here on how you have to solve them. So here's my recommendation. Now this is what we just covered in chapter 3 here, the last few weeks. Solve these using whichever way works best for you, whether it's graph them and plot all the points and see where they intersect. But I'm guessing most of you want to use combination, which is, again, if I just give you a little hint, like on this one, in number 30, I would multiply the whole thing by 7 to here, to here, and to here. And then I can get rid of my x's, solve and find y, then plug it back in and find x. And all of your answers for these should be written in an ordered pair, x and y. Okay? That's how you're doing all of these problems. We'll zoom out here a little bit. Just kind of take a look at 32. It doesn't look too tough. In fact, it looks awful warm and fuzzy because you got opposite signs and you got the same numbers. Those should cancel out real nice. 32, sorry, it was 31, I guess. But 32, I would maybe tend to get rid of the y's because you got a negative and a positive. So think, what do you have to multiply this top equation by for those to cancel out? 33, as I look at this, I would probably get rid of the x's. Okay, but remember, if they're both positive or both negative, you need to multiply through by a negative number so that they're opposites and they'll cancel out. 34, your choice, but me, I'd still, since I have a positive and a negative here, I'd probably get rid of the y's. So think to yourself, what do I multiply this bottom equation by so that these y's will cancel out? Looking at 35, ooh, nice one here, warm and fuzzy. I hope you can figure that one out. Same way with 36. 37, you have to multiply a number. Notice how everybody are positives. I don't think it really matters. The x's and y's are both easy numbers to get rid of. But remember, you probably have to multiply through by a negative. And 38, ooh, now see, can't take 2 times anything and get 3. Can't take 5 times anything and get 8. So you have to multiply the top and the bottom equation by the opposite numbers. Okay? So just to give you a little clue, if I were to get rid of the x's, and I probably would just because they're smaller numbers, I'd multiply through by the 2, and then I'd multiply this one by 3. Not by the negative because they're already opposite signs. So take your time on those. 39 and 40, you're just solving the equations. Get the letter by itself. Here it's R, and here it is a Q. Alright. Number 41 says you travel on a highway at a speed of 60 miles per hour for 2.5 hours. How far did you travel? That's a distance. Remember the formula of distance equals rate times time. Okay, how far? So you got 4 choices here. 60 miles, 120, 150, or 180 miles. Well, let's move on to the next page. Okay, here we go. Number 42, you're measuring a bike ramp that's 15 feet wide at the base, 12 feet tall. What is the slope of the ramp? Problems like this, it's a no-brainer. Make a picture, guys. Okay, so I'm going to say, okay, it's 15 feet wide and 12 feet tall. We want to know what's the slope. Remember, slope is always rise. That's an E. Over run. Okay? So you have to divide those out. You got 4 choices here in the paper. Okay? So slope 3/4, 4/3, 1 1/3, or 12. Moving on to number 43, it says write the equation of a line. Again, if it says equation of a line, it means it wants it in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus or minus b. It goes through the point of 1, 4 and is perpendicular to this line right here. Alright, now perpendicular, the clue Mr. Houston wrote in here, it's the opposite reciprocal of the slope. So you got to change the sign and flip it. That's your slope. So take a look at what you got to do. So take your slope, plug it in for m, plug in your x and your y here and here, and solve for b. And then rewrite it. Something equals a number times x plus or minus whatever your b was there. Number 44 says write the equation of a line that passes through the point -1 and 1 is parallel to this line. Okay, if it's parallel, they're going to have the same slope. And I'm just going to zoom in here because that is a 1 in front of that. All we got to do is steal his slope. Steal it. Alright, and then plug it into y equals mx plus b to figure out what your b is. Okay, so again, here's your x, here's your y. I haven't labeled that for you yet, but I like to think you know how to do that part. But plug all three of those in, solve for b, then rewrite it to look something like this. Looking at number 45, a company's market value, which is V, varies directly with the price per stock, per share, which is P. A company has a market value of 150 million when its price per share is $20. What is the market value of the company if the price per share is $10? Okay, this is direct variation. So y equals kx. And I know that because they tip me off when it says it varies directly. Okay? So you got to think, the V and the P, okay? So basically, if you plug this in, it says P, or V varies directly with P. So that's how you would kind of rewrite it using V and P. Now, you need to figure out this 150 million, is he V or P? And the price per share, P, here, 150 be V. First you need to find the K. Alright. And then rework it, plug all those in and figure out what it is when it's $10 a share. Okay. Number 46, you're to evaluate that problem. Here they give you a value for X, plug him in, work it out. 47 says write the equation of a line that passes through -2 and 5 and -4 and -5 in point slope form. So point slope form was y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. First you need to find the slope. And to find the slope, you're going to go y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So like this is x1, y1, here's x2, y2. Alright, find your slope first, and then plug him in here, and then pick either point and plug them in here and here. And that's all you got to do. Stop after that. Number 48. You've been downloading a 1200 megabyte movie from Netflix before starting your homework. 30 minutes later, you find that 675 megabytes remain to be downloaded. What's the average rate per minute? Okay, so do a little dividing. 30 minutes has passed. You've got this much remaining, so you need to figure out how much have you actually downloaded in that 30 minutes and figure out the megabytes per minute. That's how you want to kind of set it up to divide it out. Number 49, and I want you to identify the x, y, and z intercepts. So remember, all you got to do is plug zeros in for y and z, solve for x, and then plug zeros in for x and y, and then solve for z, and then solve for y, and then plug in a 0 for x and y, you'd solve for z. So you should have an ordered triple. It's going to be whatever you get, written like that. Number 50, this is just a system. You got 3 equations here. Just by looking at it, I see that being that these are both a 1, I just multiply one of these through by a -1. Okay, and then start working them out. Solve it down to get an equation with two variables, and then you're gonna have to work with the A equation up here in either one of these. Solve it down, get it in two variables, keep on working your way down. Hopefully that's fairly fresh in your mind. If you need help, come and see me. And that is the end of your test. Make sure you put all your answers on the answer document. But again, you guys show all your work here on the page. Use the back if there's room on the back. If you need to use another sheet, that's okay. We just got to make sure we attach it. Okay, have a good day. Merry Christmas.